I welcome you all to today's English class. Today we will be learning about the second part of the story The Gardener, written by P. Lankesh. The old man began his narrative. He tells his story. He says, in a far off place, once there was a man called as Tamanna. He had everything in his life: 10 acres of wet land. He had a comfortable house to stay, his own place to stay. He also had people who were ready to do his bidding, people who were ready to work for him. But most importantly, among all his possession was his rival Sangoji. After proceeding this far of his narration, the old man starts fumbling for words as though he had committed a mistake. Now, the plantation owner's wife, who was listening, she felt like going away, felt like telling the old man that none of this is my concern. I have my own problems and worries to take care of. However, somewhere she was unwilling to hurt the old man, so she continued to sit quietly beside the old man. Now, the old man continues his narration. He says no, his name was not Sangoji, but it was Baswaya. Now, the old man first told that his name was Sangoji. Later, he changes the name as Baswaya. Now, let us assume that the person's name was Baswaya. Now, Baswaya was Tamanna's rival. Tamanna and Baswaya hated each other. They were enemies. They had very strong competition between them. So if Tamanna got 4 acres of land, Baswaya would get another 4 more acres of land next to Tamanna's land. That was the level of competition between Baswaya and Tamanna. So if Baswaya had 10 friends, on the other hand, Tamanna started having 15 admirers. So their main aim in life was to compete with each other. Many a times, even in our lives, more than achieving things for ourselves, we get into the mode of having competitions with people around us, maybe our cousins, or maybe our childhood friends, or maybe somebody in the class, your classmate. So, more than achieving things for yourself, most of the time we will get into the mode of competition. Having a healthy competition is good, but if it gets worse, uh, the level of competition could become like a poison in our lives too. So, initially, all this started like a healthy competition between Baswaya and Tamanna, but gradually it rose to such a pitch that there was no land left in the village for them to buy. All the land either belonged to Tamanna or Baswaya. Now, if Tamanna had 1,000 acres of land, on the other hand, we can see Basfaya having 800 acres of land. Basfaya could not tolerate this because Tamanna had got 200 acres of land more than him. So he sent word to Tamanna asking him to sell 200 acres of his land. Tamanna, on the other hand, did not agree. He was rather prepared to buy all the land that belonged to Baswaya. Now, Baswaya was mad with rage. He went along with his people to acquire 200 acres of land forcibly from Tamanna. A fence was built around the land, and Tamanna could not tolerate this invasion of Baswaya acquiring his 200 acres of land forcibly. Now, the quarrel between these two had stuck in all their supporters, that is Basvaya supporters and Tamanna supporters. Tamanna was advised by his supporters about the various means available for getting back his land. Now, his supporters firstly suggested him that he could go to the court of law. This was the first suggestion given by his supporters. Secondly, the second suggestion given by his supporters was to approach to the police. Thirdly, there was another way also where uh, he could get back his land by his supporters. He was advised that there are many number of people ready to attack Basvaya. Such a war had become a virtually inevitable, but Tamanna was in a search of a method which could completely annihilate Basvaya. He hit upon the idea of composing all his experiences in the form of ballads and singing them. Now, the rivalry between Tamanna and Basvaya started moving away from things that were visible towards an invisible abstract domain. So, in the next class, we will see what happens because of this rivalry between these two people.